Dover will crumble and that Londonderry will be engulfed by a tidal wave. He has been ridiculed by the media, but he is still convinced that his message can heal the world. At the moment, he's on a speaking tour of Britain, and he's with us tonight. Would you please welcome David ICKE?
Thank you. Thanks, Joe.
Now, David.
Well, first of all, Joe.
Yes.
First of all,
out of the corner of my eye,
yeah,
I could see you going like this.
I've never claimed to be the reincarnation of Jesus or anything of the kind. I've written 5 books in the last 3 years, challenging the whole idea of cults and gurus and messiahs and all these areas that we're encouraged to give our responsibility to. There is no guy going to appear on a cloud to judge the human race or change the world. What we have to do if we're going to stop this planet ceasing to exist and the human race ceasing to exist is to start taking responsibility for our own actions and not allow other people to impose their beliefs upon us through indoctrination in various ways. So claiming to be the reincarnation of Jesus and claiming to be the Messiah and all that stuff, that is the...
where did it all come from?
Well, that is,
where did it all come
from? I'll tell you what it is. If you're talking about spirituality, because the media in general, particularly the tabloid newspaper, it's barely one-dimensional. You know, if it had a brain cell, it would die of loneliness. And so when you're talking about spirituality and a creative force and stuff, oh, he must be into religion then. He must think he's Jesus and all this stuff. He must think he's the Messiah. And of course, people in this country, we have this thing, don't we? Never believe what you read in the newspapers, mate. And people go ahead and do that. And I don't mind people laughing at me. I couldn't care less. But it's very frustrating when they're laughing at you for what you're not saying rather than for what you are. And as I'm going around the country, like I'm talking at the Strandmillers College in Belfast tomorrow night, people come up to me afterwards, Jerry, and they say, I just want to say I'm sorry. And I said, what do you mean you're sorry? And they said, I'm sorry about what I've thought about you. I've just realised the guy I thought you was is an invention and doesn't exist.
Okay, you can weather that. What about your family and children? Because you're the most mocked at, laughed at, you know, people have called you a loony, it's been written. How do the family cope with that?
Well, first of all, the people that said the earth was round were called loonies because the status quo said it was flat. The people, and I was among them, who talked about what we were doing to the environment and the fact that science was destroying the ozone layer, which would have great consequences, we were called loonies in extreme. So whenever you challenge the status quo, you are first ridiculed, then when you don't go away, you're condemned, and then you're fated by history as a visionary. History is full of such people. My family, my children have to live in the world that we're leaving behind. And at this time, it doesn't take a messiah or a genius to see that we're not going to leave them very much. So you have to make a decision, Jerry. You have to say, well, am I going to sort of walk away from this and take the easy life? Hello, good evening, here's Steve Davis, frame 1, thank you for the money, I'll go home to my family now. Or are you going to say, hey, I believe that there are certain things we need to do if the world we leave our children is going to be worth living in, and I, for one, I'm going to stand up and say it. And I don't care who laughs and who condemns, it's what I believe is right. So you have to make that decision. And I think it's worth emphasizing here just how quickly this has happened and just how quickly we have to sort this out. Because at the moment, all over the world, we are fighting each other and criticizing each other and judging each other, while the real enemy, which is the collective behavior of the human race, goes on unchecked. The human race is a bit like, it's a bit like sitting in a house that's on fire, arguing over which channel to put on the television set. You know, the real issue is being missed. And if you take the Earth, just before I finish the point, if you take the Earth to be 1 year old, which is a timescale we can understand, that in that timescale of 1 year, the present economic ethos that I've termed take, make and throw away has been with us in the timescale of a year for less than 2 seconds. And it's in that less than 2 seconds that we've taken this haven of life in this solar system to the brink of non-existence. The time for thinking is upon us. And I'm just trying to articulate that.
No one doubts your seriousness and your earnestness in what you do. But some things are hard to accept. This is your new book,
yeah.
Heal the World. Now, you have a whole chapter dedicated to you folks.
Yeah, yeah.
And you say things like, I know the idea, well, you claim that Jesus was helped by spaceships. Mm-hmm. Now, a Christian community finds that very hard to cope with.
Yeah. Well, let's say 2 things. First of all, throughout, if you look at ancient history and what's been found in terms of paintings and what's been found in terms of texts and descriptions, you can see that other civilizations in this universe have been visiting this planet for a very long time. People equate where this planet was 2,000 years ago in terms of its evolution, and the human race in terms of its evolution, with everywhere else. There are other civilizations in this universe that are far ahead of us technologically, and they have been visiting this planet for a very long time and having certain effects on it. Well, let me just tell you a quick story. We are in the year, Jerry, or certainly in the 18 months, when it is going to be revealed and accepted that, for instance, the highest levels of the United States military and government have known that we're not alone in this universe, at least till the 1940s. On Sky Television only 2 weeks ago, less than 2 weeks ago, they had a documentary about an incident that is well known outside of the public arena, called the Roswell incident, which happened in New Mexico in 1947. A spacecraft crashed and 4 extraterrestrial bodies were found. The local air base found them. Archaeologists who were working in that area saw everything, and many other people saw these things. The air base issued a press release which appeared in the local press saying we found a flying saucer. The local radio station interviewed one of them about what they'd found. Suddenly the higher echelons of the military appear on the scene, and suddenly a press release is issued saying, oh no, it was a weather balloon, it's all a mistake. The radio station was visited, and they were told if they wanted to be on the air in 24 hours' time, they would hand over the interview, never use it, and forget they ever had it, which they did. A mortician who was at the air base and saw one of these extraterrestrial bodies being examined was told that he too would be dead bones if he revealed it. And many other people who have been kept quiet through the last goodness knows how many years since then are now beginning to speak out, and they spoke out on this documentary. And the senator for that area in New Mexico is now forcing congressional hearings on the issue because of the lack of response that he's had to reasonable questions from the authorities. And there is endless evidence that there's been a massive cover-up. And this is going to have, when it comes out, and we are definitely within the year or certainly 18 months when it will, when it comes out it's going to have 2 massive effects on the belief system of the human race. First of all, we're going to realise that this ludicrous idea that when you look into the night sky and you see that blaze of lights, that actually life has only evolved on this planet and nowhere else, totally ludicrous from my perspective and many others, that we're going to see that we're not alone, which is going to change our thinking radically. And we're also going to see that if the authorities will cover up and keep from us the fact that we're not alone in this universe, what the hell else will they keep from us? And so many things are going to happen and are going to unfold and are unfolding that are going to show us that what religion and materialistic science has led us to believe is the nature of life, what we're doing here, and all the rest of it has been the most gigantic con trick in the history of the human race.
Okay.
We're about to wake up.
If you would like to hear more what David Icke says, well, you can go along tomorrow night at Stranmillis at 7:30.
7:30.
No tickets required, and you can hear more of what David believes and says. David, it's nice seeing you in Belfast.
Not just me, but many other people. Thanks, Jerry.
Thanks, Jerry.